morning. This is November 4th. This is going to be for the lesson that we did yesterday, and I'm also going to quickly do the lesson for today as well. And our whole goal for the next probably week or probably about 2 to 3 weeks is we're really going to discuss the relationships of multiplication and how it relates to addition, with repeat addition, actually how skip counting, you can actually tell that it's a version of a way to look at multiplication, and for today would be arrays and how an arrays with the rows and columns. And the first thing we did, we started off with the students, is we did our word problem. So if you have a second, please solve this. I'll pause the video while you finish it. Alright, so this is a question about Sam, who has 5 boxes, and in each box it had 2 cans of sodas. How many cans of sodas does he have in all? So my number one question we talked about with the students is that it's a question about having to try and find the total. And in this case, I asked the students, is it possible to add 5 boxes to 2 cans? And they're different things, so they can't add those together. So this is where the multiplication comes from. And what I had the students do is we drew equal groups. I would draw 5 groups, and we represented the boxes with circles. You can represent them with whatever you want. You can represent them with squares, whatever helps you use it. And then I had some students that told me to write 2 in each one of these now. So now we have the 2's here. And then some of the ways the students did it is they said 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And we discussed how that takes a little bit of time, but you could do that, absolutely. Then I had some students that said, we could skip count, Mr. Raisin, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I said, absolutely, that's another way to do it. Just trying to give you guys have all these different options to solve multiplication, which is it's a really cool way to, that's the reason why multiplication is so beneficial. There's so many different ways to look at it, to solve it. So in this case, the answer to our question would have been that there are 10 cans of sodas altogether. And the way I had them also, they wrote down what the equation would be for this. It would be 5 boxes, which is our 5 groups, times 2 cans in each group, and we equals the product, which is 10. 10 cans. All right. And that's just an introduction to what we're working on. So the next thing we had the students do is we wrote down in our journal multiplication concepts. So I'm going to type it up there for us. We did multiplication concepts. And then we just started with doing a very basic one, and I had the students, this is the equation we wrote down. We wrote down the equation 3 times 4 equals 12. And what we had to make sure everybody knew that this was the 2 numbers here. I'm going to draw these 2 numbers here. We call these factors. And then we have this number over here, which we call our product. A product is the answer to a multiplication problem. And then we represented, each student has their own special personal bag that they're allowed to have. So every student got their own personal bag of snap cubes, and we used the snap cubes to help represent this. So the first thing is they had their 12, so I'm going to do alright, so the first thing is we said we had, so the students would come over here and they made their blocks, and we said we have 3 groups, and each group has 4. So they came over here and they made their 3 groups. So here's one group of 4, and they drew this actually on their paper in their journal. So they had their one group. Oh, That's not supposed to happen. Okay. Whew. Right, and let's see what they had, and then they made another group of 4, and they made their last group of 4, and they drew this in their journal to help them represent what it is. Let me do this. This will make it easier so I can quickly get the last one done. And then there's our 3 groups of 4. And so those are our factors. The 3 groups is the 3 right here. That's our 3 groups, and our 4 is our factor. And then they counted, and 3 times 4 is 12. There's the different ways they said. One person said we could skip count, Mr. Hazen, is 4, 8, 12. Absolutely, because each time it's an equal group of 4 that you're jumping. Some of them counted just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they said how long that was. So then we go to the next one. And so then we just had some examples, and I had students work on it. The other thing is that I made sure that they understood what an equation was. Just a reminder that, an equation has an equal sign, and it's a balancing beam. And we can do it for multiplication and division and subtraction. Here's some examples of what we did. Another one, we did our word problems. There are 5 flowers in each vase. There are 3 vases. How many flowers in total? Here's another, just a visual representation that we did together. And if you want to, there's some other ones that you can do. We did this page right here you could do to represent it, and this is another one that you could do to help yourself understand, to work on these. What I wanted to show you here is about skip counting, and the way I was talking about skip counting, how it relates to multiplication, is that so we're just doing 2s. We're skip counting by 2s. Well, I put the 0 there because we always start, and the first one would be 0 times 2. And then the next one, so it was the first one, so that would be 2 times 1. And then we do our second jump, so this is the second number. So you don't start with 0, we start at 1, 1, and then 2. So we move over 2 spots, so that would be 2 times 2 equals 4. And then we go to the third one, 2 times 3. And that's how I wanted to show them how skip counting is actually related to multiplication, because each time you move over a group, you would multiply by 2. So like this one, this is the 9th one, so this would be 9 times 2, or 2 times 9, and that would get you 18. So it goes the same way with the bottom skip counting. And then we actually made we're in class, we're making a Frair model. So today, for what you can do, it's a little it's hard to read here because I did this with the kids on the board. Make sure this says multiplication in the middle. I know it's a little sloppy. I'm actually going to help that out and actually type multiplication here. You put multiplication in the middle. And then you put skip counting at the top, and there's just the examples, how I have it. This would be a great thing to just write in your journal to help you. And that's what we did for today.